My dearest friends, a heartfelt welcome back to Vita Prime Health. In the work I've been so privileged to do, I've seen that the heart of good health lies not just in the physical body, but in the emotional and mental well-being that connects us to one another and to ourselves. Today, I want to talk about a topic that so many men experience, yet so few feel comfortable discussing. It's a topic shrouded in silence and for far too long, a source of shame. We're going to talk about erectile dysfunction. Now, I understand that even the term itself can be difficult to hear, but I want to reframe our conversation. We are not talking about a failure. We are talking about a symptom. We are talking about a message from your body, and like all messages, it is asking to be heard with compassion and curiosity. The conversation we are having today is not just for you, my male friends, but for partners, for sons, for brothers, for anyone who loves a man who may be suffering in silence. We're going to gently pull back the curtain on this topic, exploring what the science tells us, what history can teach us, and most importantly, how we can approach this with vulnerability and a sense of shared community. I want you to know that what we discuss today is not about a loss of manhood. It is about a loss of blood flow, and that, my friends, is something we can talk about and something we can work on. Before we go any further, I would love to hear from you, anonymously if you wish, in the comments below. Have you or someone you love experienced this? What words of encouragement or wisdom do you have for others who may be struggling with this in silence? Your experiences are not just your own, they are a beacon for others walking a similar path. The silent language of the body. Understanding the why. Erectile dysfunction, or ED, is medically defined as the inability to achieve or maintain an erection firm enough for satisfactory sexual intercourse. But on a human level, it is a profound and often confusing experience that can erode confidence and strain the most loving relationships. It's not just a physical condition, it's a deeply emotional one. And while it is more common in men as they age, it is absolutely not an inevitable part of growing older. The statistics can be startling, but they also serve to show us that you are not alone in this. Research estimates that over 50% of men between the ages of 40 and 70 experience ED to some degree, and that number can rise significantly for men over 70. A study from the Massachusetts Male Aging Study, which surveyed men between 1987 and 1989, found the total prevalence of ED was 52% in men aged 40 to 70. This was a groundbreaking study at the time because it was one of the first to truly quantify the scope of the issue. More recent projections suggest that as many as 322 million men worldwide will have ED by 2025. These aren't just numbers, they represent millions of men and their partners grappling with a shared challenge. The crucial first step is to understand the why. For many years, ED was mistakenly believed to be all in a man's head, caused solely by psychological factors like stress or anxiety. While these psychological components are very real and significant, we now know that for most men, ED is a physical issue, and it's often a crucial early warning sign of something deeper. Think of your circulatory system like a network of pipes and hoses. The arteries that supply blood to the penis are some of the smallest in the body. They are the first to show signs of trouble when the system is under strain. The same conditions that can lead to heart disease, like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and diabetes, are often the very same culprits behind ED. It is a powerful signal from your body that it's time to pay attention to your cardiovascular health. A man experiencing ED may be years away from a heart attack, but his body is giving him an early warning. Beyond cardiovascular health, other physical factors can play a role. Hormonal imbalances, a decline in testosterone, a natural part of aging, can affect libido and erectile function. However, it's rarely the sole cause. A 2020 review noted that while testosterone levels begin to gradually decrease around the age of 35, many men with ED have normal testosterone levels. The interplay of hormones is complex, and low testosterone often works with other factors to contribute to the condition. Neurological conditions, Diseases like Parkinson's or multiple sclerosis can interfere with the nerve signals that trigger an erection. Medications. Certain medications, especially those for high blood pressure, depression, and prostate conditions, can have ED as a side effect. It's so important to be aware of your medications and discuss any side effects with your doctor. Surgery and injury. Pelvic surgeries, particularly for prostate, colon, or bladder cancer, can impact the nerves and blood vessels essential for an erection. Understanding this complexity is the first step toward compassion. It helps us move away from a mindset of shame and toward one of gentle, proactive care. The most important takeaway here is that ED is a symptom, and symptoms have causes that can be identified and addressed. The evolution of a condition, a historical and cultural perspective. It may surprise you to know that men have been grappling with this issue for centuries, though they've called it by different names. In ancient Greece and Rome, male potency was a symbol of strength and dominance. The ancients likened penetration to a beating that affirmed the aggression they believed characterized the true man. Impotence was a cause for deep public embarrassment and was often blamed on a mismanaged life, a lack of moderation in diet or emotion. The solutions were often superstitious, involving potions, amulets, and special diets. Greek and Roman physicians often prescribed aphrodisiacs or penis-shaped vegetables, believing they could restore vigor. During the Middle Ages, the Christian view of sexuality as solely for procreation meant that impotence was sometimes considered less of a problem, as long as a man could fulfill his role as a husband and father. However, for lay people, a man's potency remained a powerful marker of his identity. It was so serious that by the 17th century, marriages could be annulled on grounds of impotence, with trials of Congress held to publicly determine if an erection could be achieved. Can you imagine the humiliation and anxiety this would have caused? In this period, impotence was sometimes even blamed on witchcraft and sorcery, a concept popularized in the infamous 15th century text Malleus Maleficarum, which suggested that God could permit Satan to use witches to prevent intercourse. This cultural context placed an enormous and frankly terrifying burden on men. Over time, our understanding has evolved. By the 18th century, discussions began to shift toward physiological and psychological causes rather than religious or supernatural ones. In the 19th century, a new anxiety emerged as men were increasingly blamed for sexual exhaustion due to the stresses of modern life. As pleasure became a more central purpose of sexuality in the 20th century, the inability to satisfy a partner was often emphasized, placing a new kind of pressure on men. It wasn't until the late 20th century that the term erectile dysfunction was widely adopted, shifting the narrative from a moral or psychological failing to a medical condition with biological roots. The development of oral medications like sildenafil, Viagra, moved the conversation to a more mechanical, treatment-focused discussion, but the emotional and cultural weight of the issue remains. This history reminds us that the shame and secrecy surrounding ED are not inherent. They are a product of cultural expectations that have been passed down for generations. It shows us that for generations, men have carried this burden, and now, with greater knowledge and more effective treatments, we have a unique opportunity to change the conversation and lift that weight. The power of sharing multiple diverse patient anecdotes. In my practice, I've had the privilege of walking alongside many men on this journey. Each story is unique, yet they all share a common thread of courage and vulnerability. There was a gentleman I'll call David, a successful 72-year-old architect, who came to see me feeling completely defeated. He had always been the strong, silent type, but this issue had chipped away at his sense of self. He was on medication for high blood pressure and cholesterol, and he had come to accept his ED as just part of the package of aging. But he and his wife, Clara, missed their intimacy, and it was creating a painful distance between them. I gently explained to David that his ED was a symptom of the very same conditions we were already treating. It wasn't a personal failing, it was a physical manifestation of his body's needs. We adjusted his blood pressure medication and discussed some simple lifestyle changes. He started taking brisk walks every morning and joined a cooking class with Clara to learn heart-healthy recipes. Their shared activity not only improved his physical health, but also brought them closer together. He told me a few months later that the most important treatment wasn't a pill. It was the reopening of communication with his wife. He said, "I thought I was hiding it from her, but she felt the distance and blamed herself. When I finally talked to her, it was like a weight was lifted, and we started working on it as a team." Then there was Mark, a vibrant 65-year-old who loved gardening and spending time with his grandchildren. He was physically active and had a healthy diet, yet he was experiencing ED. His case was more nuanced. Through careful evaluation, we discovered that his issue was less about cardiovascular health and more about stress and anxiety, which he had always bottled up. He was a caretaker for his wife, who had early-stage dementia, and the emotional toll had manifested physically. We worked on relaxation techniques, and I encouraged him to find an outlet for his stress. He started spending more time in his garden, not just tending to it, but truly connecting with the quiet peace of the earth. He and his wife also began seeing a therapist who specialized in couples counseling for seniors. The therapy was not about fixing the ED, but about giving them a safe space to talk about their fears, their grief, and their love for one another. The emotional intimacy they regained was the real remedy. He later told me, "I thought I was just losing a part of myself, but it was really a signal that I needed to take better care of my emotional self, and that was a lesson I needed to learn." I also think of a patient named Michael, a 62-year-old man who was an avid cyclist. He was in peak physical condition, but had been struggling with ED for a few months. He was utterly bewildered. We ran tests and found no underlying cardiovascular issues. It turned out that his problem was related to his passion. The constant pressure on his perineum from his bicycle seat was damaging the nerves and blood vessels crucial for an erection. We talked about different ergonomic bike seats and taking breaks during his long rides. He was so relieved to find a simple mechanical cause for his issue that didn't threaten his masculinity or his health. He found a new, more supportive seat, and within a few weeks, his symptoms had largely resolved. There was another case, a man named George who was 69 and on several medications for chronic pain and a prostate condition. He and his wife had been married for 45 years and were struggling to navigate the changes in their sex life. The issue was a side effect of his medication. It was a difficult conversation, as he needed these medications to manage his pain. We worked with his urologist to find a different medication regimen, and when that wasn't enough, we explored other options like vacuum erection devices. George was hesitant at first, but with his wife's encouragement and our support, he tried it. He later told me, "It's not what we're used to, but it's what we have now. And what we have is still beautiful. It's still intimacy. It's still us." This story reminds us that sometimes the solution isn't about returning to the past, but about finding new ways to connect and a new definition of intimacy that works for you as a couple. These stories are a testament to the fact that while the physical root of ED is often the first thing to address, the journey to wellness is a holistic one that includes our emotional landscape. And so, my friends, I must ask you again. Have these stories brought to mind your own experiences or those of someone you love? What wisdom do you have to share with this community? Please feel free to add your voice below. Debunking the myths, separating fact from fiction. The silence around ED has allowed a great deal of misinformation to thrive. Let's bring these myths out into the light and replace them with compassionate, evidence-based truth. Myth: ED is a normal and unavoidable part of aging. Truth: this is the most damaging myth of all. While the risk of ED increases with age, it is not an inevitable conclusion. Many men maintain healthy erectile function well into their 80s and beyond. A 2012 study of men, ages 71 to 86, who received a penile prosthesis for ED, found the treatment was well tolerated and effective, proving that men in this age group are not only interested in a fulfilling sex life, but can also be treated effectively. The symptoms of ED often point to treatable underlying health issues. Ignoring it as just part of getting old means missing an important opportunity to address conditions that can impact your overall health and longevity. Myth: if you have ED, you're not attracted to your partner anymore. Truth: this couldn't be further from the truth and is a source of immense pain for both partners. ED is a physical and often medical condition that has no bearing on a man's love, attraction, or desire for his partner. A study in the Journal of Sexual Medicine found that while relationship problems can sometimes contribute to ED, it is far more likely that stress, anxiety, fatigue, or other health conditions are the root cause. Open communication and reassurance are crucial to ensure that this medical symptom doesn't become a wedge in a loving relationship. Myth: ED is just an inconvenience and not dangerous. Truth: as we've discussed, ED can be a powerful early warning sign of serious underlying health issues, particularly cardiovascular disease. The arteries in the penis are smaller than those in the heart, so they're often the first to show signs of blockages. By seeking help for ED, you may be taking a proactive step toward preventing a heart attack or stroke. A Cleveland Clinic report on ED emphasizes that men with ED should be screened for heart disease, diabetes, hardening of the arteries, and elevated blood pressure, as the same factors that contribute to these life-threatening conditions also cause ED. Myth: the only treatment for ED is medication like Viagra. Truth: medications like PDE5 inhibitors are often a highly effective first-line treatment, and they have been a tremendous gift to many men and their partners. However, they are far from the only solution. The most effective treatment often involves a holistic approach, including lifestyle changes, addressing underlying medical conditions, and psychological support. Other options include injections, vacuum pumps, and in some cases, surgical interventions like inflatable penile prostheses, which have been shown to be well tolerated and effective. Myth: taking testosterone supplements will cure ED. Truth: while low testosterone can contribute to ED, it is rarely the sole cause. In fact, many men with ED have normal testosterone levels. Taking testosterone supplements without a proper diagnosis can be dangerous and can have side effects. A doctor may prescribe testosterone replacement therapy if low levels are confirmed, but a common approach is to combine it with a PDE5 inhibitor for better results, as it often is a multifaceted problem. Always consult with a doctor to determine the root cause of your ED before considering any hormonal therapy. Myth: ED is purely psychological. Truth: while psychological factors like stress, anxiety, and depression can certainly play a role and even be a direct cause of ED, the vast majority of cases have an underlying physical cause. In a study published in the Journal of Urology, researchers found that while age alone increases the risk of ED, factors like poor health, diabetes, and other comorbidities that are common in older men are more significant contributors. The myth that it's all in your head prevents men from seeking the medical care they need for what is often a physical problem. A new path forward: lifestyle integrations and daily practices. With all this information, you might be wondering, what can I do? The answer is both simple and profound. You can make gentle, intentional changes that support your body's natural ability to heal and thrive. Think of these not as a cure, but as a commitment to your long-term health and vitality. Embrace movement. Regular physical activity, especially cardiovascular exercise, is a cornerstone of good health. A brisk walk, a swim, or a bike ride for just 30 minutes a day can dramatically improve blood flow throughout your body, including to the penis. The NIDDK, National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Diseases, recommends at least 150 minutes of moderate-intensity physical activity per week. In addition to cardio, strength training can help by boosting testosterone production. You might also consider Kegel exercises, which are exercises that strengthen the pelvic floor muscles. These muscles are essential for closing off the veins that drain blood from the penis during an erection, and strengthening them can lead to more rigid, longer-lasting erections. Nourish your body. A heart-healthy diet is a circulation-healthy diet. The Mediterranean diet, for example, is a fantastic model. This diet is rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, and healthy fats from olive oil and fish, and low in red meat and processed foods. Foods rich in nitrates, like spinach and beets, can help boost nitric oxide production, which, as we discussed, is crucial for blood vessel dilation. A 2020 study showed that a meal rich in nitrates from leafy greens significantly decreased blood pressure, highlighting the direct link between what we eat and our vascular health. Manage your weight. Maintaining a healthy body weight is one of the most effective ways to improve erectile function. Excess weight, particularly around the midsection, can contribute to inflammation and disrupt the delicate balance of hormones and blood flow. A study from the University of Iowa Healthcare explains that inflammation increases reactive oxygen species, which are substances that fight against your body's natural nitric oxide production. Losing weight decreases this inflammation, allowing your nitric oxide to work more effectively. Losing even a small amount of weight can have a significant positive impact. Quit smoking and limit alcohol. Smoking is one of the single biggest contributors to poor circulation and cardiovascular disease. It damages the lining of your blood vessels, making it harder for them to relax and expand. Excessive alcohol consumption can also negatively impact erectile function in both the short and long term. A report from the NHS notes that men should not drink more than 14 units of alcohol a week, and that reducing or stopping drinking can improve ED. Reduce stress. Chronic stress can constrict blood vessels and increase the production of cortisol, a hormone that can interfere with sexual function. Even ED medications like Viagra can be less effective when a man is under significant stress. Find a stress-reducing practice that works for you, whether it's meditation, deep breathing exercises, a beloved hobby, or simply making time to connect with friends and family. The key is to find an outlet for your anxiety and emotional burdens. These lifestyle changes are not just about addressing a single symptom, they are about embracing a holistic, compassionate approach to your own well-being. A detailed FAQ for our VitaPrime community. Question: my partner is experiencing this and he won't talk about it. How can I help? This is such a common and challenging situation. The most important thing you can do is approach the topic with a great deal of love and no blame. Let him know that you love him and that your desire for him is not conditional on his erectile function. You can say something like, "I've been thinking about us and I miss our intimacy. I've been learning that erectile dysfunction is a medical issue and it can be a sign of something that needs our attention. I love you, and I want us to be a team in addressing this." Suggesting that you both see a doctor together, as a team, can also help to alleviate the pressure he may feel to face it alone. Question: what is a PDE5 inhibitor and is it safe for older men? A PDE5 inhibitor is a class of medication which includes well-known drugs like sildenafil, Viagra, tadalafil, Cialis, and vardenafil, Levitra. These drugs work by relaxing and widening the blood vessels, which increases blood flow to the penis to facilitate an erection. They are generally considered safe and effective for most older men, including those with certain cardiovascular conditions. However, they are not suitable for men who take nitrate medications for heart conditions. A review from Healthline notes that PDE5 inhibitors are widely used among older adults because they are generally safe, effective, and convenient, but that it's crucial to speak with your doctor to find the right medication for you and your lifestyle. Question: can ED be reversed? For many men, ED can be significantly improved or even reversed, especially when the underlying cause is addressed. This often involves a combination of lifestyle changes, managing underlying health conditions, and in some cases, medication. The key is early intervention. The sooner you seek help and make changes, the more likely you are to see a positive outcome. A Baptist Health blog notes that, can ED be reversed with diet and exercise? The answer is that it can, and you can enjoy better intimacy with your partner. Question: is there a link between ED and low libido? While they can sometimes occur together, they are two different conditions. Low libido refers to a decreased desire for sex, whereas ED is a physical inability to achieve or maintain an erection. Low testosterone can contribute to both, but it's important not to assume that a lack of desire is the cause of ED or vice versa. A comprehensive medical evaluation can help differentiate between the two and identify the appropriate course of action. Question: how can I find a good doctor to talk to about this? Start with your primary care physician. They are often a great first point of contact because they have a holistic view of your health and can rule out underlying conditions. If they determine that you need a specialist, they can refer you to a urologist or a men's health specialist. You might also consider talking to a sex therapist or a counselor, as they can provide invaluable support in navigating the emotional aspects of ED, both for you and your partner. Question: what is a vacuum erectile device, VED, and how does it work? A vacuum erectile device is a non-invasive, non-medication option that can be very effective. It consists of a plastic cylinder that you place over your penis, a pump, either manual or battery-operated, that creates a vacuum, and an elastic ring that you place at the base of your penis. The vacuum draws blood into the penis, creating an erection, and the ring holds the blood there. The device can work for most men, and it is a great option for those who cannot take oral medications or for whom they are not effective. Question: what is penile injection therapy? Penile injection therapy involves injecting a small amount of medication directly into the base of the penis using a very fine needle. This medication, which often includes a combination of drugs like papaverine, phentolamine, and alprostadil, causes the blood vessels to relax, leading to an erection within 5 to 15 minutes. While the idea of an injection can be intimidating, it is a highly effective treatment, and studies have shown about 90% of men who use it are satisfied with the results. Your doctor or a men's health specialist will teach you how to do it safely and effectively. Question: how does diabetes contribute to ED? Diabetes is one of the most common causes of ED, and it's a perfect example of the link between circulation and sexual health. High blood sugar levels can damage both the blood vessels and the nerves that are responsible for an erection. Over time, this damage can prevent the penis from receiving the necessary blood flow and nerve signals. For men with diabetes, managing blood sugar levels is a critical step in both preventing and treating ED. Question: can stress and anxiety alone cause ED? Yes, they can. While we've focused on the physical causes, it's important to recognize the power of the mind-body connection. Stress and anxiety, particularly performance anxiety, can trigger a release of hormones like adrenaline that constrict blood vessels. This makes it physiologically difficult to get an erection. This is often the primary cause for younger men with ED, but it can also be a significant contributing factor for older men, especially when combined with other physical issues. This is why a holistic approach that includes stress management is so important. As we draw our conversation to a close today, my dear friends, I hope this discussion has brought a sense of relief and a new sense of hope. Remember, erectile dysfunction is not a personal failing. It is a signal from your body, and it is a challenge that you absolutely do not have to face alone. By talking about it openly, by learning about it with compassion, and by taking proactive steps to care for your health, you are not just addressing a physical symptom. You are honoring your body, and you are preserving the beautiful, vital connection you share with the people you love. This journey of wellness, of living fully and vibrantly in our senior years, is one we embark on together. If today's discussion resonated with you, if it offered a fresh perspective or inspired you to make a gentle change to your morning, I would be so honored if you would join our ever-growing VitaPrime Health family. Please, subscribe to our channel right now. It's a simple act that ensures you'll receive all our future episodes, each designed to empower you with evidence-based insights and heartfelt support for your well-being. And if you know someone, a cherished family member, a dear friend, or perhaps a valued neighbor, who might also find comfort, inspiration, or valuable insights here, I would be deeply grateful if you would share this episode with them. Your sharing helps us extend our embrace, fostering a larger community dedicated to thriving at every age. Let's continue to support each other on this beautiful path Thank you always for your precious time, your trust, and your unwavering commitment to your own health journey. Until we meet again, take exquisite care of yourselves and keep cultivating that wonderful vitality.